Good afternoon, student. Today we discuss the new chapter, farm inventory analysis. This topic is important for theory as well as for practical. So what is farm inventory analysis? So that part we see in this slide. First one, definition of farm inventory. So underline this definition. It is very important for final theory exam point of view. It is a list of all physical property of a business along with their values at a specified date. So we can call that particular list as a farm inventory. And in that list, one asset or the list of your physical property. Physical property means your assets. Okay, so that is mentioned. It is the complete list of farmer's asset. Farm inventory is the complete list of farmer assets. The best time to take farm inventory on most farms is at the beginning of agricultural year or on or near 1st July. Usually at this time of the year, the crop concern is finished and work for the next season has not yet begun. So this is the right time to take the farm inventory. Now, process of taking farm inventory. Taking an inventory involves two processes, physical counting and valuation of physical assets. The farmer with a critical eye should walk over his farm and through the buildings to make a general inspection of the land, buildings, fences, equipment, livestock, and supplies. The physical count is necessary to verify numbers, weights, and measurements. Loss, wastage, or shrinkages are always occurring and can cause considerable error if the inventory is not made carefully. So inventory is very important. Next, the farmer should place value on each item using an appropriate valuation method. So whatever the assets that farmer is having, so that assets you have to make the list of that assets, and also the value of that asset to that particular period is also very important. So which are the different methods of valuation of any assets or farm assets? So that we have to discuss in this slide. There are methods of valuation. Every method has its own merits and demerits. The use of particular method of valuation will depend upon the purpose of valuation and nature of assets being valuated. As far as possible, valuation should be appropriate because inappropriate valuation can lead to unsound business decisions. So following are the commonly used valuation methods. So how many methods is included in your syllabus? 5 methods. First one, cost minus depreciation. Second one, cost or market price, whichever is lower. Number 3, net selling price. Number 4, replacement cost minus depreciation. And number 5, income capitalization method. So how many methods? 5 methods is for valuation of any asset. Now, first one, what is valuation at cost minus depreciation? With cost as the basis of valuation, the inventory is how the total of sum actually put into the business and count depreciated over time. So with the help of this, we can take the valuation. This method is commonly used in working assets such as machineries and livestock. Okay, breeding livestock. This method assumes that the purchase price was an approximation of the value of asset and its value in subsequent year. It can be determined by subtracting depreciation allowance and its cost. Already I explained you in exercise depreciation, how to estimate depreciation, okay, of any asset. So you have to take that depreciation yearly and minus that depreciation with from the purchase price or original value of that asset. So with the help of this particular point, you can take the valuation at cost minus depreciation. Now, second method, valuation at cost of market price, whichever is lower. In this method, valuation is estimated at the cost or market price. Okay, maybe production cost or maybe market price of that asset, whichever is lower, you have to take into consideration. This method is commonly used for valuing purchased farm supplies. Farm supplies means, you know, different types of inputs needed for any crop production. For example, you take for example in case of farm supplies like fertilizers, seeds, insecticide, pesticides, etc. So for that particular assets or for that particular inputs, you can value the inputs with the help of this method. Okay, valuation of input takes place with the help of this method, valuation at cost or market price, whichever is lower. Now the next method, valuation at net selling price. This means the price which could probably be obtained for the asset it marketed less the cost of marketing. This conforms most closely to the present worth. This method may be usefully applied to crops or the livestock produced for the market. So whatever the crops you have to sell, okay, in the market, so that price, okay, so with that price also valuation takes place. So that price is called as net selling price, and with the help of that price also you can take the valuation of that particular product or asset. Valuation by replacement cost minus depreciation. This method is used to evaluate the asset at what it would cost to reproduce them at present price and under present method or production. So see here, in this method, you have to replace, if you have to replace any asset, then whatever that production cost for reproducing that particular asset at present price, you have to take into consideration, and under present method or production, whatever the cost you have you needed, so that you have to consider. This method is best suited for long-lived assets such as building, particularly where wide changes in the price level occur. So mostly in case of buildings, okay, so this such type of method for valuation is used. Okay, replacement cost minus, you have to consider the depreciation of that asset yearly obtained. Okay, now last method, valuation by income capitalization method. This method is appropriate for the farm asset whose contribution to the income of farm business can be measured and which have a long life. The capitalization formula is generally used in this method. V is equal to capital R upon small r. Okay, so can be used for this purpose, and where V is the value in rupees, okay, of that value of that asset, and R refers to constant income over infinite number of years in future. So whatever the income obtained, so that you have to take into R, and small r is the rate of interest. Okay, if you take the loan for purchasing that asset, then you have to consider the rate of interest of that loan in this capitalization method. Okay, so this method can be used to evaluate the asset like land. So for every asset, different types of methods used in valuation process. So you have to just take into consideration different types of assets and which are the different methods used for valuation of that asset. Now, next, selection of the method of valuation. All assets that will be sold within the year can be valued at the net selling price. Okay, now जे assets, इथं लक्षात घ्या, जे assets तुम्हाला काय करायचे, you have to sell. Okay, so that is valued at the net selling price only. All supplies can be valued at the cost or market price, whichever is lower. Supplies means input. So underline this method because this is very important for your objective. Working capital assets such as machinery equipment can be valued by use of cost minus depreciation method. The farm buildings that have been constructed long time ago can be valued by replacement cost minus depreciation method. The farm building that have been constructed only a short time ago may be valued at cost minus depreciation. See the difference. The farm building that have been constructed long time, you have to use replacement cost minus depreciation, this method. And farm building just constructed in short time, okay, 6 months before, then that for that particular buildings, you can take the valuation by which method? Value at cost minus depreciation. Farmland may be valued with capitalization formula in combination with the market price of that asset. Okay, so these are the different type of assets and which are the different methods of valuation used for that asset. So this is mentioned in this slide. So this slide is very important for final theory examination and practical also. Okay, thank you.